welcome to another edition of Corner Cauldron with me, Buffy, and my co-host with the mostest, my brother from another mother, my WT, my wonder twin, Jim Spillin. How you doing, bro?
I'm doing well. Got back on the air here, getting ready to get the show back up and running again. But we haven't missed. We've missed one over the past, but no biggie. But we're back here. Finally,
we've missed one or two.
Yeah, spring weather's starting to come back. It's like 68 degrees today, so I'm looking forward to all that stuff.
I know. And I'm not looking forward to the hay fever and the cold I'm going to get from it going 35 to 65 to back to 30 to 10, 12. I feel like a bingo caller.
Oh, right.
Or what's a caller?
Auctioneer.
An auctioneer. That's what I sound like.
I got left kidney. You gave me two lungs and arm.
I do. I feel like an auctioneer. Exactly. 65, 35, 68.
Oh,
35. Oh, gold. Oh, dear God. Lord. So how you been, bro?
Everything's been good. Keeping busy. Everybody's
hold on for a second. My cat's doing the Texas two-step at the door. Hold on for a second.
Oh Lord, kitty, come on, cat! You're disturbing.
Here, see you. No, when she wants out, she wants out.
Okay,
and that's how we're doing things.
Well, you don't have the grand woofer there, right?
No, I don't have the grand woofer here. Okay. Sammy will not be here probably for another couple of months until they find their next destination where they want to go, and they call me the night before and go, "Hey, Mom, can you grand woofer set?"
Our plane leaves in 3 hours. Can you take the grand woofer?
We're gonna see how Sammy gets along with. Yeah, can you? That's exactly what she does. Kids, you love them, right? And you just want to, I don't know, drop kick them the other five times. Yeah, that's how it is.
Yeah, I can see a drop kick.
Oh my goodness!
I'm trying to get myself here.
Yes.
Organized. Because every time I come on here, it's got like one computer will do one thing and the other computer won't do it, and the other one shuts the other one down. And all my notes are on the one that we're transmitting on. And I'm like, God.
Hey, Dave, we have Dave Cummings watching.
Okay. Yeah. And for some reason, I can't see the chat. So, hey, Dave. I'll acknowledge people's.
Yep. I have my phone. The phone is actually on the Facebook page, so we're watching. I'm watching for comments. Ding. Okay. T's done.
Yeah, dignifies it done.
Dignifies it done. Oh, good God Almighty! It's hey, Jessica Miller's online. Hey, Jess, how are you, hon?
Trying to get.
You say hey, howdy, hey to Jess. She's in the chat.
Jess, glad to see you on board there.
So,
still a little discombobulated.
Yes. We're getting there. You go. Here we go. We're getting degobblized. Dave says top of the evening to you all.
Top of the evening.
Oh my goodness. Yep, top of the evening.
Why is this doing this to me?
She said, "Oh, Jess said so much better now that I see your lovely face." Oh, thanks, Jess.
How do you know she's not talking about me?
It's so depressing to find this mug right here. Just brings you joy.
She was talking about this mug.
Need to drink more. Was she talking to that mug? She was talking about that mug. There you go. We're waiting for bro to get himself situated.
Yeah, I have to try and transfer some stuff back and forth here on the way that I look at things. So I made bookmarks on what we're going to talk about, and it led me to another thing that I thought reminded me of um, Petra.
Say yes, yes.
I think
That was a while ago.
Yeah, I think Petra has a little bit to do with some of this topic. It's just it's speculation on my part.
Could possibly imagine that. I mean, well, it could possibly have something to do with it. We don't know. Jess said it's a beaut, both of y'all.
Oh God, come on.
By the way, everybody, if you hear noise in the background, it's in my hallway. My cat has now decided that she would like to partake in parkour since she's had her evening meal. We are now gassed up and ready to go. We're now doing parkour in the hallway. Parkour. Parkour.
StreamYard.com. I'm trying to see if I can do something here this way. Oh, what was my email?
That's okay. I'll just keep chatting away. We do have a doozy for everyone tonight. So if you have not seen the Jen says she loves parkour and cats. Okay. Well, I will send Maven to your house so she can do parkour off of your hallways as well. You can cat sit for me. We have a doozy. So if you guys haven't seen the topic that we put up, well, I actually put up, we both put up for Facebook and YouTube. You better gas up your camels, because guess where we're going? We're taking a road trip, honey. Gas up the camels, put the sand slippers on, and don the robes. And ladies, if you wear hijab, put the hijab on, because we're going to eat. Mind the camels, though. I heard they do like to spit and bite, apparently. That is one thing I could say that I have never been on. What is parkouring cats? Parkour is that? Oh God! All right. I have I've never ridden a camel. I have never ridden a camel. I've watched somebody learn how to ride a camel. Every time I watch it, I have envisioned myself face planting before the camel even leaves the ground. Like they do that very abrupt giddy up kind of thing because they have the hump, and I will find myself in the sand being laughed at by many, many people who don't speak English. So, and Lord knows what they'd be saying about me. Probably not nice things. Oh, Lord.
Sorry, Buff. I thought I had this all worked out. Everything took a hiccup on me.
Tim says he's ridden a camel. You've ridden a camel, Tim?
Who? Tim?
Tim said he rode a camel.
Okay.
All I know is that they spit just like alpacas. And I heard that when they find a girl camel that they really like, they hang out their tongue and they make this weird noise. And their tongue gets really big. It's like blowing sideways raspberry.
Delete. Jesus.
Oh, Lord. Come on, it's 7:10. There's not too much TMI. Come on now.
It's all good.
It's like dogs. Jess is trying to explain to Tim. what parkour is, and she's equating it to dog zoomies. But the cat's literally running up the walls, jumping from object to object.
Oh.
Parkour.
Parkour.
I have to say that every time she leaps off of something.
I'm going to be hodgepodging again because I got, like I said, you think I would have this figured out by now. But now, it's technology, it's the cyber world. It doesn't like this.
One would think, but you know what? None of us have any of this crap figured out yet.
No.
I'm just still going through life right now, trying to get through life. So with that being said, we wanted to open up the show on a more serious note at this point. One of our family members, actually two of our family members, Jojo and Jen, were asking everybody, I can't go into details, but we are asking everybody to send as much white light, blessings and prayers to them today, tonight, and for the next couple of days. They're really going to need it. That a family member has fallen very ill. So we are asking if everyone that is within earshot of us, watching us or listening to us either live now or later on tonight, if they would happen to jump onto the YouTube channel or catch us here on Facebook or StreamYard, we are definitely asking to pour your heart out to Jojo and to Jen, who is my co-host on Which is Winging It. They have a very ill family member at this time. So, and that's all I can say about it at this point. I'm not at liberty to elaborate on the situation. I don't feel that it is my place to say so, without their permission. And I asked Bro, I know that we are not religious on here. We try to stay out of the way of religion. But we know at the very beginning of Corner Cauldron and Paranormal Talk 2 and Which is Winging It, that we are gracious to all spiritual practices that may come forth as friends to listen or to gain some knowledge from our podcasts. So I asked Bro if he wouldn't mind saying a prayer, because Bro is an ordained minister. So I'm going to ask if Bro, you could say a few kind words to Joanne and Jen.
So if we have everybody here, to say a healing prayer. So I'll start with the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Heavenly Father, hear our prayer for healing. Thank you that you are the resurrection and the life. Death holds no power over you. Your words say that you will be the cries of all those who call on you. You say that you will send out your word and heal them. Increase our faith that we may call on you for your unfailing love, for the healing and recovery that is needed. Lord, bless this family and keep them safe. May your face shine upon them. Turn your face towards them. Give them peace through Christ our Lord. Amen.
Oh, thank you, Bro. I appreciate it. And even if you're not Catholic or religious, in your own space and time, if you can give them a couple of minutes of quiet time and reflection, great Creator, if you believe, or if your spiritual practice is Native American, ask great Creator to watch over Jen, Joanne, and their entire family, because they could really use it right now.
Right.
All righty. So I appreciate everyone paying attention to that and listening and being with us right now for this moment. This is why we do these shows, is because we consider every one of our audience family members, not just fans or those who are an audience of any kind. You guys, the great majority of you have stuck with us for years doing these. And it's been a great pleasure to be able to do that. And it's great to find a group of people that will rally against, together for family when it's needed. So, all righty.
Yeah.
Without further ado, I'm gonna. You know what? I can't take any credit for that. We're gonna get into. This was all Bro's idea, and if you want to share the text, you know how I don't believe in coincidences, and this has a lot to do with a charity event that Schuylkill. So I had to I need to tell you this real quick. And all I got was interesting. So why don't you, bro? This is all your topic, honey bunnies. This is a great topic.
Yeah, I found it. So it was a couple of weeks ago. I was just looking for a topic of something we could talk about. And as everybody knows, we've talked about Egypt like crazy. I mean, every possible angle of Egypt to when King Tut was first found. You're talking the pyramids are dated 4,500 years ago, and
yep.
The King Tut being found, and then we got his mom and dad being found. The tunnels that just keep showing up. All the protection to guard against the thievery and the thieves of the tunnels and the tombs of the kings.
Right.
We talked about the interesting part on all this is, so we've talked about the link of King Tut mainly that has that. Here we go. You guys are already probably saying Jim's going to say aliens. Well, yeah. Because I think tonight's going to shed a little more light. I think that it's going to show more. I'm not necessarily going to say aliens, but I'm going to say another race, maybe, or a greater race was in front of or behind. So it's, King Tut had that his dagger that scientists have all said comes from the metallurgy from outer space, and everything like that. So what they found was, which I thought was very cool, was they found rooms underneath the Great Pyramids. They have found what they're saying is 6,500 square feet of new chambers. There's 3 cubes down there. They're not sure what they are, or how they're breaking them up yet, but they have 3 cubes down there, and scientists right now don't have any idea what this is. Now, this was all spearheaded by 2 scientists that used sonar. And let me go get their names here. So it is, hello, where you at? It's an Italian and Scottish researchers claim this discovery under the pyramids of Gaza. The team is led by Corrado Malanga from Italy's University of Pisa and Filippo Bondi from the University of Strathclyde in Scotland. What they're claiming they used is, I know I'm probably not being seen on the screen because my way I wanted things to work out tonight just aren't working out for me, but they use
I can see you fine.
Oh, okay. All right. So they use some radar. It's new radar technology. Now, everybody knows that there is ground penetrating radar. There's radar everywhere. It gets into seeing things. I mean, you can see, helicopters have FLIR, forward looking infrared. There's radar everywhere for everything. And a lot of times archaeological sites will use ground radar devices, so they don't disrupt what it is they're looking for. And so now apparently there's this new technology. How new it is, I haven't found it yet, but it's called synthetic aperture radar, SAR. And what it supposedly does is it combines satellite radar and vibrations that naturally occur in the earth. So I'm going to lead that to say, okay, so if we have a aperture in the ground and there's vibrations, it's going to be faster vibrations going to when it stays closer and they can travel together. When you have a gap in something, it's going to take longer for that vibration to get to the other side. So I'm guessing this is how this works with this technology. They've used it for it's similar to like we say here, like ocean floor radar. And what they've discovered is they're saying besides these 3 blocks, there's also 8 vertical cylinders that have been that are shafts that have been located. They've got them there around the 2,100 feet depth beneath the pyramids. So they kind of look, if you look at the pictures of them and you Google it, it'll almost look like shock absorbers for the pyramids themselves. And right off the bat, you can say, okay, shock absorbers. We said aliens are in contact with the pyramids or a guiding system. You know, maybe it's a landing spot, and these cylinders are springs per se, if you want to go that far with it. But they haven't really said what they are yet. But they're connected to 2 80-meter cube-shaped structures. And there's like 5 levels in this area that they're finding. Now here's where it'll get going is I've not found anything that says, hey, we validated your findings. Now anyway, you know, I've said it a couple times, my background comes from a lot of computer work. And the biggest thing in computer work or any kind of scientific discovery or anything scientific that you're going to do, you need to have validation. You need to say, you know, hey, we've tested your theory. I would always replicate what somebody could do on a computer. And that's basically what we're looking for here. So there are a lot of people, and there's a few Egyptologists. I got to drink more. That said that they're not
Egyptology.
They're not giving any credit to this discovery right now because they say there's no peer-to-peer paper that anybody's been able to look at. I know you and I talked before the show, Buff, so you're gonna have your time with that.
Right.
But what I found no peer-to-peer paper on this stuff, and my speculation arises from how is it so defined? I tried to find, you know, where was the opening point? Was it in King Tut's room? Was there a shaft that we finally got through? Is what prompted this radar to go around and check the bottom of the pyramids? Because we've been talking about pyramids for years. I mean, this is no strange topic at all. And all of a sudden, here we are. We've got somebody discovering, you know, rooms under 6,500 square feet of space and tombs and everything under the pyramids. So, how's that got prompted? How did we get to that point? And there's nothing that I found that says, well, it started over here in, this tomb over here or this shaft over here, or we got something that tricked us to say, why are we looking deeper? Because we've always all thought the pyramids would be flat. And the other thing that comes up weird and strange is this discovery of these rooms and everything below the pyramids predate the pyramids by almost 35,000 years. And you think about all the technology and problems we've had with just the building of the pyramids and trying to get scientists to say we can replicate the building. We can't even replicate the building of the pyramids, number one. That's not been done yet because we still don't know if we can float the rock that was necessary down the river. Remember, there's a break in the Nile,
right?
That they found could be, air quotes, could be involved as part of the way they floated the bricks and the stones down to build these pyramids. But if you look at it, even some of the hieroglyphics and everything show bigger people. Let's say, whether they're alien or whatever they may be, but bigger race of people that are building these pyramids. So I always get the impression that you have the little guys are kind of like, mixing the mud balls, and then handing everything up to the bigger guys. So to me, I'm thinking, there's another, was it a superior race or was it a growing race? And the Egyptians who built the pyramids became the superior race. Because if you look at all of this, we all come from. Everybody always says, "Well, where does everybody come from?" But when you start looking at this and start thinking about this kind of stuff, to me, it's almost like there's no way all of us couldn't have evolved from the Egyptians. Now we all say, hey, I'm Irish, Buff, you're Scottish, Tim might be, he's Cherokee, so it's I mean he's not Cherokee, but Tim's native background. We all say that we have this in us, but why? Everything I'm seeing with these pyramids and now this discovery of the underground rooms, I'm thinking we all had to, at some point, had to evolve from the Egyptians. Now, how you paint that picture is because we sit here and we always think about the Big Bang. And you think about God, and you think about Adam and Eve, and that, and it's like, hey, well, where did we come from? Is this an opening or a gap in the thing that says we don't know where we came from? Is that where we're at now? I don't know. But the pyramids add that interesting piece to it because let's assume that ground's open there. Well, what is supporting the pyramids now? Buffy, I think you froze up, dear. But what is supporting the weight of the pyramids out there in the deserts? That is, supposedly, I mean, it's mind-boggling, and it leads to another point. I'm not going to hit that other point right now, but it led me down another thing that me and Buff were talking before the show. We talked about it. Not Perth. Oh, where you found the gateway to hell? Petra. Yeah. So to me, I found some stuff.
Well, that was a Petra, but that was in the desert, right. In Egypt, where they found they found the gateway to hell. Petra is actually in Jordan, which is not far away from Egypt, but
it's enough proximity.
Country, but we can see where all these things. Yeah.
But yeah, so for me, it's kind of like the evolution of everything is all the Egyptians because we study it, and like I said, there's cylinders underneath. There's 8 cylinders that could be springs that could help as a landing board for, because we've talked about the reception of or the communication there from to and back and forth. So, but like I said, the sound, the ground radar is interesting to me. But when you come up with a defined number of 6,500 square feet, to me, how are you doing that? And how could we have not known that you were doing this kind of excavation and research? Because let's face it, when Howard found King Tut's tomb, I mean, that was the biggest, that's a lot of stuff that these guys like to claim that they did, that they found, that they discovered. And that's, good hard work on their part. And if I'm running around with some ground radar, and let's say you're an archaeologist, just down 3 pyramids down from me, you're going to say, well, what's Jimmy doing up there with that thing on the ground? And well, he's discovering, so I would have thought it would have come out somehow, and I don't know how long it's taken them to discover this. I don't know what there's nothing that I could find that shows me the next plans to what they're doing with the discovery. So it's almost like you're going to either have to dribble in from a safe side, unless there's an entranceway that they've discovered that we haven't talked about with anybody yet. But so that's that's kind of our topic tonight. What's under the pyramids, and can we, is it affirmed that we found more tombs, or have we just found just another big area where storage was, per se? I don't know. It's it's kind of like a mind-boggling. But you were saying, so you and I were talking before the show that about this. It's a nice topic to talk about. But what's your thoughts on this whole discovery of these 6,500 square feet that is new stuff now to the brings new life to the pyramids, really.
Mhm. Mhm. You know, I actually wound up researching this. I researched late because I had so much crap to do. Um, so I was up probably until midnight, running through all the papers, running through all of my books that I have that are on Egyptology, everything that I could find on Egyptology, and you're correct in saying that they use something called synthetic aperture radar Doppler tomography. So, if you've ever had a CAT scan done, CT scans for the T part stands for tomography. So, it is a way of using underground radar and using Doppler, and having sound waves come back at it with pictures of what is underneath the ground. What I found interesting was that this is not something new. According to a person named Jason Shirka, who I watched on YouTube do a whole talk on um, this particular subject, and I have to get a subscription to his Unified TV because there are more scientific papers on there regarding Egypt and the pyramids. And if you love Egyptology, then that's the place you want to be. Um, but this goes back even further than 2022 when this news broke. Um, it was all over in Europe. It never reached the United States as far as being broken in 2022 when Biondi Malanga, and there was another one that was also involved. Malanga is a doctor of physics, and then they had Armando May, who was an Egyptologist out there in Egypt. They're saying that there was a report made by someone named Billy Mayer in 1953, stating that on a excavation in Egypt in 1953, he had been beamed by a ship underground to the city underneath the pyramids. It he did in fact remain missing for 3 days. They did find him wandering the desert after 3 days and asked him where he was. All he could remember was seeing quote unquote these things or people, and he was beamed down underneath the pyramids, and he in fact told them what was underneath there. Of course, he was immediately given psychiatric evaluations, blah, 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 all this, that, and the third, and he was dismissed. Now, in 2022, these three people, we have Biondi, Malanga, and May, were out in Egypt. They were studying the pyramids due to the new, I want to say, new minister of antiquities, stating that they believe that the pyramids were actually sinking into the sand, which is plausible. They can sink. I mean, we have the Leaning Tower of Pisa. Venice is sinking at a rate of, I think, a couple centimeters a year. That it is the whole Venice, the whole city of Venice is sinking. The Tower of Pisa shifts a couple centimeters every year. It's due to tectonic plates. It's due to the sand that's out there. So that's how they got their radar, or their synthetic aperture radar Doppler tomography out there when they were doing it. That's why they were there actually doing it, to see if there was sinkholes underneath the pyramids that were causing it to sink. If there was something that they could do to keep the pyramids at a stable sinking level, that, we've got wonders of the world here. You've got 3 pyramids that, are a wonder of the world. You don't want them sinking into the sand and just disappearing for, so that none of the rest of the world gets to see these anymore. They did come back with information underneath one specific pyramid in particular, and that is the Khafre pyramid. There are 3 pyramids that are in the great city of Giza.
Mm-hmm.
Kafir is or Khafre, excuse me, is the pyramids. And what they got back from the tomography was exactly what you said. They found these shafts and cylinders, and these cylinders seemed to be wrapped in a conductive metal, almost like a coil, right?
Mm-hmm.
They also found an entire running water aquifer system underneath. They found the running water. They found 3 chambers that, as Jason Shurka described them. Now, he's an Egyptologist, living in New York right now, but he does go back and forth and study, Egyptology in Egypt. He was stated as saying that on his YouTube page that the length and the height of these 3 chambers, or what they called wells. If you go out into Egypt, an Egyptologist or archaeologist will call them wells, sort of like wells of the souls, like they have out in Egypt. They appear to be wrapped in coils. These cylinders, or these, was it 8? I think it was 8 cylinders that they found.
8, yes.
Were actually wrapped with a conductive coil, with running water. You could actually see the water running, and it was a continuous water, I guess you want to call it aquifer. They found stairs that literally looked like they went down probably, 640 meters, they're saying. Each cylinder is, what I gathered, 648 meters long. So if you actually went down, it'd be 640 meters down. That they look actually like basements, is what he referred them to. He said, if you're not familiar with Egyptology, or you're not familiar with structures or architecture, he said we would consider them basements.
Mm-hmm.
They look like basements. And he said one of these basements alone is the size of 2 football fields end to end. So that's how long they are. And they are extremely wide. What he found kind of perplexing was that when they did the calculations with this, now this is where we get into the strange and unusual part of this.
We're already there.
We're already there, but guess what? I'm making it weirder.
Going deeper.
Weirder. You saw my big old head, my big old eyeballs. We're gonna make this thing even weirder, and it goes to the deep end of things. The proportions of these structures, if you do the math correctly, they actually had a physicist and a mathematician out there with them doing all the mathing, making sure their math was mathing.
Math.
That they have, math was mathing. The proportions of the structures have certain mathematical ratios, sort of like the golden rule of pi. So we all know that pi is 3.149995666 whatever all the way down the road there. If they were stating that the latitude line of this Great Pyramid, which is Khafre, the longitude line that it is sitting on is 29.9792458 degrees. And with the mathematics, you had to move the decimal point 2 spaces in order to come up with the circumference and all the craziness of their math was mathing. And you actually hold on to your skivvies, people, because I'm gonna give you something that's blow your mind. When you move that decimal point 2 places, you get the exact speed of light.
Okay. And
he's
that's
so
also,
stunned he's stuck. Look at him.
Well, that's also, no, I'm sorry. I was trying to tax my memory storage space. That is also, the speed of light also comes up with the pyramids if you do the square rooting of the base of the pyramids, I believe it is. If you do the all the sides of the pyramid, you come up with the actual speed of light also.
Yes.
So that's 2 references to the speed of light.
Yes, and they were comparing to. Correct, and they were calculating that and using that against what they had found, which was if you do all 4 sides, like you had said, of the pyramid. They published in the Pyramid Code. They're saying is that to publish in the Pyramid Codes, the pharaohs brought with them the technology of electromagnetic pulsation. Okay. And that's what they're hypothesizing this on, is that which gave them the ability to build these massive structures. So Tim, if you remember, I know Tim's in the chat, but if you remember when we did an episode on Paranormal Talk 2, I believe we talked about someone that lived in Florida. It was the Coral Caves or the Coral Castle.
The guy, yes, he built the I know who you're talking about. I can't think of his name.
Built the cavern or built the house, the castle,
right?
And all this things
because he wanted to prove that the pyramids could have been built by the Egyptians. He was an all-nighttime build, and nobody watched him, nobody helped him. But he used tools. That's the only thing that everybody forgets now is the guy that built that used tools to help him move. Now, the pyramids and everything we're finding out now about the underground, there's no tools. There's not even tool marks left behind. There's not even a fossilization of tools or anything. So, I mean, we're getting deep here, but I mean, that's where I think that there was some kind of extra help that was given to the Egyptians that just isn't going to be so easily or widely accepted. You know, I think, like everybody here in the listening chat.
That is true.
But it's just that it's to me it's like the wonder of the world. I mean, I know there's 7 or 8 wonders of the world. Like the pyramids and the building thereof are like the wonder of the world. I mean, the Great Wall of China. I'm sorry. I mean, you got centuries of Chinamen just throwing the rocks up when they're done out there in the fields. There's your Great Wall. I'm not belittling the wall, but I'm just saying.
Oh no, yeah.
Yeah.
But we also have to remember how the guy who built those things was also using a levitation process.
Yes.
With using brass and copper coils that even Nikola Tesla had used, and said that he had gained that knowledge from when he took a trip to Egypt. So with that being said, we all know the study of how, if you've ever seen it, I'm sure that people have seen it. It's where people put sand on a table and they use radio waves or vibration to make the sand jump and make a certain pattern.
Yeah.
Correct? So it lifts up the sand and it moves it. They are saying that using sound waves, it is very possible for you to be able to move things that are 100 times heavier, thousands of times heavier than you are, by using certain sound waves and frequencies. Now you have to find that frequency in order to do it and direct it. So there is play with that. Now, hold up. I know you got your arms crossed. You got your arms crossed. So hear me out with that. Okay. With that being said, they are saying that some people believe that this is how the pyramids were made, and that the pyramids were not made by the Egyptians. They were made by ET, who came down for a specific purpose to help the Egyptians. We'll revisit that later, okay?
Right.
So after they had done all these studies, they did a peer paper. They compiled all this data from the tomography, came up with their findings saying that there was actually something inside these basements. There were other things that they could not, didn't have time to recalibrate the machine and go down into and use that Doppler again. But there were other objects that if they were given the time to be able to use the Doppler and recalibrate the machine to be able to go even deeper, then they would be able to a better definition of these pictures. They had published the peer paper. So it was actually evaluated before peers. Peers meaning physicists, archaeologists, and Egyptologists.
Right.
And in order to have it published, it has to pass. Doesn't mean that just because it's published doesn't necessarily mean, or if it says peer published, it doesn't mean that it was not scrutinized. It was scrutinized multiple times. Usually you only have 2 or 3 people in the panel that will take a look at the paper, mull over it, and decide whether it can be published or not. This, I believe, Jason Shurka said there were 28 people that reviewed this paper in order to get it published. There is a doctor in Egypt who is no longer, but he was once, he is the past minister of antiquities in Egyptology, whose name is Zahi Hawass. And many people have seen him. If you've watched the Nat Geo channel, he has been on Nat Geo a bazillion and a half times, taking you into the tombs like King Tut's tomb, Nefertiti, all of the wells of the soul. And I have to preface this by saying I am not making light of his education. So if this ever makes it to Dr. Hawass, I thank you for your service and your dedication to Egyptology. I am a big nerd when it comes to Egyptology. I love it. I watch everything about it. I get my hands on every little bit of information I can. This is not taking away from his education at all. Period. PSA done. Dr. Hawass laughed at them, saying that what is this Doppler? There's no such thing as Doppler this, Doppler that. You would have to have satellites, this, that, and a third. He totally dismissed the 3 gentlemen as far as their papers were concerned. Now, mind you, all three of these are doctors. They have published multiple papers before. When they were approached by Hawass and his pushback as far as them not having those papers, they said, that is untrue. That is unfounded. That we used a satellite. We used a satellite to check, double check, and triple check our facts. He said, in fact, we used 3 satellites that were above the 3 pyramids at the same time in order to measure and calculate against the other one. He said, if we were lying and it would only show up on one satellite and not the other, or it wouldn't show up on any satellites at all. They turned over that work. They turned over the pictures to the satellites and said, it is the same in all 3 satellites. Take the measurements yourself. They are there. The pictures are there. The measurements are there. Everything has been calculated and everything comes out the same 3 times. So if we were lying, this would not have happened. You can't get any more defined than all 3 satellites running. So they laughed at Carter. They laughed at Professor Carter when he found King Tut.
Mm-hmm.
This isn't the first time that Egyptologists have laughed at studied scholars. This doesn't mean that their paperwork is invalid by any means. They laughed at Carter. They laughed at Edgar Cayce. Edgar Cayce, who's considered the sleeping prophet, says that there is a hall of records hidden underneath the Sphinx.
Yeah, there's still
They
rumors.
laughed him to death. Herodotus. There, that is still a rumor. Herodotus, excuse me, who is an ancient Greek god, wrote about ancient halls under the pyramids thousands and thousands of years ago. They are when we did the Emerald Tablets of Thoth,
right?
They describe all 3 of those halls, meaning the afterlife. You have Amenity, ruled by Osiris, and that's the realm of the dead. That is one well or one hall. Then you have Rostyle, the surface monuments at Giza. That is the second afterlife, the second hall. The third hall is called Dewat. Dewat is the surface monuments. Get down. Is the I did yell at my cat. Is the you can see her head right here. Little crap head. Look at her right there. You see it? Now she's hiding her head.
Rastafarian.
Yeah. Devat. The celestial realm, which is the actual underworld. And what those represent is as above, so below. Patterns in the heavens are mirrored here on earth. So I want more studies done. I really would like more studies being done for that to happen. They laughed at everybody else who believed in the Great Pyramids. They laughed at Carter, who found King Tut. Edgar Cayce got laughed at. These are the same 3 doctors that discovered halls in Sweden, underneath the Arctic cats and underneath the Alps, through this sonar or through the Doppler. That's number 1. They also found that if you go to Peru, South America, and you look at the Mesoamerican temples that they had, which resemble pyramids, you will get the same calculations that they are at the speed of light, and that all the calculations equal the same amount as the pyramids,
Right.
equal on all sides. Machu Picchu has a temple at the top of it that has the same thing, the speed of light. So there are so many questions. You know, they found all these things using that same Doppler, all published papers throughout the years. I would find it very hard pressed to believe that they are lying. I don't think they're lying. I could understand having those, you call them jacks, right? Or like coils, springs to keep the
Yeah, that's what there's symbolism of. Yeah.
Right.
I mean,
They are older than the actual pyramids. So how would they even know where to build the dang pyramids?
that's a good point right there. I mean, you're building the
What were the
basement.
jacks?
You essentially build the basement to the pyramids, and
Yes.
you put the roof of the pyramid on later on. Again, it even adds to the how did they do it? How did they get it done? And
Why
going
were
to
why were they all topped with copper and
right,
brass?
yeah. I mean, there's just and you got running water, so you have your energy to go through, and basically you made a a hydro plant, so you can have conductivity, and conductivity
That is
has been one of the underlying source or thought processes on the pyramids, because when you look at the top of the pyramids, everybody's belief is, and the overall belief is that is a sending and receiving port at the top of the pyramid. So when you couple it with this findings now, it's kind of like, well, they're onto something. Um, going to your
yeah.
going to your papers, where I didn't find anybody that had validated papers yet. Papers are fine to validate. You can get 10, 20, 30, 40 guys to validate a paper by doing the mathematics. The thing I want to
Right.
see is do the hands-on validation. Where you not only you've looked at it, you said, okay, this should be here, this should be here. Let me if I can replicate it I can approve a paper. If I look at your math and your math is all correct and everything, I've done a Sheldon on you and it's all good. Okay, we'll move on. But if you do the actual hands-on and replicate the experience, bazinga, that's where I want to see the validation. If they're upset.
Bazinga.
But a lot of the things, though, listening to you here, if you think back to what you were saying, how we found, Howard Carter found this, and it was Edward Leeds Stolley was the one that built the Coral Castle in Florida. But you look at, has there been an Egyptologist? There has to have been, and I'm just missing it, that is getting the kind of notoriety that Carter has gotten, that Leeds got from building the castle in Florida. Or are they just kind of like oh, well, he says he found it. He thinks it's a big deal. He really didn't find it. It's that tomb was over there, or this shouldn't have been over here, or people getting upset because they're not getting their due credit or their due findings because I'm here. I should be finding this, and I'm not finding it. Howard Carter from the United States is finding it, or something. You know what I mean? Maybe they're getting that kind of jealousy about them. It's it's one thing I always say. It's just everybody stop, put all your energy on point A, and work together and get that whole wave going. And I was never a guy that wanted kudos or credit for anything. Look, I did my work. It showed up. Here it is. Take it. You like it? Have at it. I don't give a hoot. But we found it. Let's move on. But the underground thing, I'm only skeptical to the point that they have a definitive number of 6,500 square feet. Like I said, I don't know when all this sonar started. I couldn't find out when there was an exact start date on them saying, here it is, July 1st, 1970. Let's start, with this new radar. No, let's go, July 1st, 2025. That's my only thing right now. I believe in the radar. I have no problem with it. My only speculation is how did they get so definitive? How are they able to say 6,500 square feet? They had these 8 cylinders inside that are, I forget what you said, on like 80 meters wide or 80 meters tall. It's like they're really definitive on their findings, which is interesting about the whole thing. But to me, it's just kind of like, just somebody explain something just a little bit more to me. Give me just a little bit more information. And I don't know if it's there yet, or if they don't know, and they just said, well, the pyramid squared match here, so we stayed within the parameters of the pyramid and assumed that the pyramids had a basement. Well, if you assumed it had a basement, show me the starting point. Just where was your point that said, do it on the east side of the pyramid at midnight at 3 a.m. under a full moon, and that'll show you right your starting point. Because all Oculus is, if you watch Indiana Jones and all them with the Oculus, when the moon comes in and the beam comes in and everything lines up just perfectly, do we have that kind of measurement? Do we have that kind of finding that we're talking about? It just, like I said, for me, it's just, I agree with, I'm not skeptical on the findings, but I'm skeptical a little bit, which doesn't make sense, because it's like, yeah, well, I believe them, but I don't really believe them. No, I believe everything that's going on here. I just, like, for me, it's, my background and everything says, I just need just a little bit more. Just show me just a little bit more that, okay, now I got you. It's almost like they're hiding trade secrets. I can't show them how I use that SAR, and because I don't think I'm done finding everything, but I'm going to give them just enough tantalizing information to say, oh, I can validate your paper, but I can't replicate your experiment. And that's what you need to be able to do. One has to cover the other, either way, back and forwards. So that's just, like I said.
I mean, to answer your question, as far as like who's not getting the accolades or who's not getting the, the fist pumps, again, I'm not saying that his education is out the window. Halas. Because that would make everything that he has made on Nat Geo,
right,
just like subpar to what if they had technology? What if the secrets to that technology are down in those wells? Then that would blow his theories and all of his studies in ancient Egyptology out of the water. And the focus would be off of him and onto something else. Think about that. Okay. And here's where I'm going to get weirder.
That's okay.
I want you to look up the Anunnaki.
Look up the who?
Anunnaki.
Right. I think we've talked about them.
We talked a little bit about the Anunnaki. We didn't talk completely about the Anunnaki.
Okay.
I think it's worth a looking at. Here we go again with, I can't say how. You know how. And Tim knows how. And when and where and why on this. I'm gonna leave everybody flabbergasted. Probably gonna be a million texts after this. I have an in that says that the Egyptians had help.
The
Egyptians had help.
We're absolutely 100% both on that. I mean, yeah.
You have, and Tim's right. Tim made a comment on the Facebook Live stating that we have to remember that there are pyramids that are all over the world.
Right.
Each one of those pyramids, whether they be in Florida, Panama, Machu Picchu in South America, in Peru, all over the place. They all continue to have the same measurements. You can't tell me that the Mesoamericans that came after the ancient Egyptians copied off the ancient Egyptians, even though they were on the other side of the world. Where did they get that technology from? All the hieroglyphs that have beings that do not look anything like the ancient Egyptians at all inscribed on the inside of the hall, the great halls, the burial sites, the pyramids. And if nobody's gotten it yet, I'm talking about ET.
Oh yeah.
More specifically, Anunnaki. They had help. There wasn't just the Anunnaki. There were Andromedians, there were Zadians, and there is a connection that they have with us and the ancient Egyptians. They wanted our race to move along a little bit, and we weren't moving fast enough. So they gave us a little help along the way.
Right.
And there is a specific reason for that. I'm not going to give it here. But there is a specific reason for that. It's because way back when I was a teenager, I wanted to be an Egyptologist. I wanted to be an archaeologist.
Okay.
Couldn't afford to go to the schooling. So we went to culinary instead, which was kind of like a settling for things. And I love all of those shows, watching every single one of them. I love them taking you inside the pyramids and learning about all of these things. At first, those three, from what I gathered from Jason Shurka and from another, I can't remember the name of the website that I went to. It was on YouTube, but it was like oddities or something weird. Now that was weird or something crazy like that. Was another website that, or another channel that spoke about I just lost my train of thought. It just went off. Choo-choo went off the tracks. Ding ding.
Bring that hamster back. Bring that hamster
bring
back.
the hamster back. Sat there and talked about the understanding that each pyramid is built with what they call false wells or shafts.
Okay.
Those were built in specifically. Even when you went to King Tut's tomb, there were false rooms. There were booby traps. The Egyptians were smart. They didn't want anybody stealing all their ish. So they built false chambers, false rooms, false wells, which were hey Akira, how are you? They sat there and they talked about building those false rooms as a decoy in order for marauders not to go stealing all the gold, because we understand that when they passed, they were entombed with everything that they would need for the afterlife. Uh-oh. Jimmy went bye-bye. Jimmy went bye-bye. Hey, Jimmy went bye-bye. Anyway, I guess I'll keep talking till he gets back up here. They built those rooms in order to keep people with their hands off the gold. Here he comes.
I'm back. God dang it. I do something goofy every time.
And I'm going to say something silly. I will tell him. Welcome back. Did you enjoy your trip?
Look.
You're back.
Yeah.
Welcome back. Did you enjoy your trip?
Who?
Did you enjoy your trip? You.
Who?
You disappeared. You disappeared.
Oh yeah, no, I went into cyberspace.
Yeah, I'm just about.
I did some parallel shit.
Right, I've seen that. You slipped into another universe. What did I tell you about keeping your feet planted? I'm not gonna go chasing you through alternate dimensions, sir. And look, Idani said, "Welcome back."
Yeah, Luce just came back.
Welcome to the chat, Idani. Idani, I work with Idani.
Are you on air?
Akira the Menace.
You don't hear.
Is that what we call it now? Yes, that's exactly what we call it now. So initially they thought that these rooms got to get him metal boots with weights. Did you hear that? Akira the Menace said we need to go on. We need to buy boots with
metal
weights
boots on me
to keep you planted.
Tie me off like a space. I'm going to do a spacewalk, but just tie me off. That way I won't get lost.
You know what? We said that, and I can do stuff like that. Remember Space Camp when they were put the belt around the kid because the suit wouldn't fit, and they tied the oxygen line to him. You ain't going nowhere. Look, we're just pulling you back.
Right.
Akira, if I could tell you how many times I've played Gretel to his Hansel, leading him with breadcrumbs. They initially thought that those wells were false rooms, that they were put there on purpose in order to keep marauders from the inside. But when they found more, that was not the case. You will find a shaft in a pyramid or in a tomb, but it goes vertical. It'll start straight and then have stairs and go vertical into a chamber. These were not. These were all side by side like this. 1, 2, and then 3. That's my theory, and I'm sticking with it. I'm sticking with the theory that these bad boys had help from ETs and it just wasn't the Anunnakis. Okay. I do believe that they taught them with this technology. I do believe if they allowed them to go further or go back, these people are claiming, the three doctors are claiming that after they came out with this information, they weren't allowed back to do more research. They were immediately told, bye, see ya. We don't want nothing to do with you.
Mm-hmm.
Which I kind of find fishy. On both sides, to be totally honest. If let's do the playing the devil's advocate at this time, where okay, maybe if their information wasn't so shitty, maybe they would be asked back.
Okay.
Invite me back.
You and I have always
very
agreed
fishy.
on.
Yes, I can.
They've always had help.
Yeah. So at the same time, I think it was Hawass who told them not to come back. He has the authority to tell them not to come back. So if I'm stealing Hawass's thunder, guess what? Bye. See you later. Don't come back. We don't want your mess here, because then you're going to steal my thunder and you're going to create more limelight on yourselves and not on me, being the greatest all-time Egyptologist that ever's never's ruled, period. Bottom line. You know what I mean? I want them to come back. I want them to specifically point the SARS at
Right.
those wells. I want them also to prove or disprove Edgar Casey's theory that there's a whole libraries of, notes and tablets and papyruses all over the place underneath the Sphinx.
Oh, the Sphinx hasn't even been explored yet. I mean, the
I know,
rumors are
that's what I
there.
want them to do.
Right, they're abound. Is what they're. I mean, they're talking already secret caverns, secret tunnels, secret
Yes.
cabins, and everything inside the Sphinx. And that's the other thing about it. So the Sphinx has a lot more interest, not a lot more interest, but it has been at the forefront of things before the basement of the pyramids. Why is the basement of the pyramids jumped up in front of the Sphinx? Now, do I think that that is a directed path by outsiders that are helping that we've already talked about? I think so. I think that there's not a, guys, I know I'm nuts. Let's face it. I'm the cuckoo bird that hangs upside down and goes tick-tock backwards. That, the Egyptians were helped. They were helped by a greater power, a greater source that came around and taught the Egyptians either A, how to float the stones or how to get the stones up. But as far as getting into the basements have so much energy in them that take you from rebirth, to take you back to passing on through the heavens to that you have to get through when you pass away as an Egyptian, to rebirth, to reincarnation. Reincarnation. There's a thing now. We could do a show on this. I'm going to spit it out there real quick. I don't know if you came across it, but this is one of the things that the basement of the pyramids led me to. That's why I think there's a big communication system going on here, with all the copper and the waterways and the way the pyramids are built and how they're situated and the openings. Is, you ever heard of the halls of Amenti? The halls of Amenti,
yes,
are basically.
You want to do that next? I'll do it.
What's that? The halls of Amenti are basically 7 steps between gods.
You want to do the halls of Amenti next? We can do that.
Yeah. But the halls of Amenti, this is what led me to from the basement of the pyramids to the halls of Amenti. And that's basically, you go through 7 or 8 different plateaus, and you actually go out into space. You don't stay here. You don't get reincarnated down here, but you move up to space. And actually, it's when you and I lost my notes on it, and I apologize, but when you are, there's like the heart. It's almost like all the chakras that you go through, that have to pass through to get out of the halls of Amenti into a rebirth or a reincarnation of your body. And it's your soul that gets pulled from your body within the halls of Amenti. So that was that one there, kind of, and that's when I disappeared in cyberspace a few minutes ago. I was trying to bring up the tab on the my notes on that, but like I said, that's kind of sparse. But I mean, that's a thing we could do a show on all by itself. It's just the halls of Amenti, and all the passing that you have to go through. Because they measure your heart. One biggest thing was your heart is measured against the weight of the feather of Manta. And if your heart was at that feather weight, then you were basically approved to move on. If your heart was heavier than that Manta, then that meant there was some kind of lie or some trickery or something that you had in your background that you just weren't being truthful about. And you would actually have to go back, and you could fake it. And I forget what stage level this was at, but you could almost fake it and get away with it. But after like a 2-week period, like the guardian police caught up to you and said, you got to go back and fix yourself because you didn't make it past the feather of Manta. So, and that's why I started. That's why I was thinking of yeah. So I mean, it's just like there's so many things that tie the Egyptians to, and that's why I said
we can do it.
Everything. everything that goes back to the Egyptians. I'm not taking, believe me, I'm not, because I'm a Christian. I'm not taking God out of the picture. I'm not taking Adam and Eve out of the picture. I'm not taking any of that belief out of the picture. But if you go back historically and keep going backwards, we are basically told that Adam and Eve were the first Anglo-Saxon Americans to set foot on Earth. But you got these Egyptians mighty years way back. So did we come from that? And then all of a sudden we were broken down into little parts like, this continent's going this way, so this group of people go up there and you'll be known as Scottish. This continent went this way, you people are going this way, you'll be Irish. You other knuckleheads will go down here into this little one that looks like a boot and we'll call you Italians. So it's just like a lot of little things that, it's a lot there that I'm trying to dissect. And maybe it's too much. Maybe I'm making a bigger deal of it than what it really is. But I think that, there's some credibility to say that all life came from an Egyptian start. Because, I mean, like we said, there's basements. The basements of those pyramids predate the pyramids by 35,000 years, not 3,500.
Yes.
It wasn't like it's 40, because the pyramids are basically 4,500. 35,000 is what we're talking about here. So it's not an accident. It's not an accident here. We've talked about aliens, and
it's not an accident,
right? And the aliens you bring up. Remember, aliens. There's the good group, and there's the bad group. Draconians, stay up there. Don't come down here. Ponti, come to us.
Yeah, we don't need no reptilians, draconians. Y'all stand your Draco, whatever it is that you.
Right, and look how long it's taking. We're talking about thing. Yeah, we're talking about a basement we're talking about basements in the pyramids. Well, guess what? The government now, today, not today literally, but today, modern time, and you and I have talked about it, and you and I and Tim have talked about it, is they are now acknowledging that they're using the oceans to land. They land in the oceans. And that's the last spot that anybody's ever looked for the aliens. Well, they've created their own mystique with the pyramids, with their own thing. And I think we found another what I think might be a communication thing with the basement of the pyramid. I'm calling them the basement of the pyramids because I don't know what we're calling them. Yes, ma'am. Go ahead.
Well, that's what they referred them to. Were basements, and that's what Jason Shirka called them, was basements. If you're not familiar, or you're not seasoned in Egyptology, you don't remember to call them wells. You can consider them basements. And what I am saying, and I'm not yelling at you, bro, I'm just so excited about this whole thing, is that why do you not think the aliens would lead you breadcrumbs? They are leaving you breadcrumbs. And it's because of our political system. That's all I say. I want to hide crap, because we would be a bazillion times better off if we found the breadcrumbs.
Oh, yeah.
Do you not think that they would build something this fantastical and not leave dang breadcrumbs?
But they're not going to leave. No, and that's where I'm going to disagree with you. They're not going to leave the breadcrumbs.
That's my whole point.
Right, they're not going to leave them. You have to know where they're at. You have to find them on your own. You can't be guided in. Only look at it. They're not going to just let anybody in, right? The Egyptians or the aliens. We're not just going to let anybody in to our basement or into our pyramid or whatever we're going to talk about. So we're not going to put the breadcrumbs down just in case those who shouldn't find it, find it. Those who know the path, those who have done the research, those who know where to look, those who pay attention to the signs, they're the breadcrumbs. We talking breadcrumbs, but it's proverbial, breadcrumbs. It's not true breadcrumbs, but that's where you have to find them on your own. And if you don't find them, guess what?
That'd be hilarious if it was breadcrumbs. Is it pumpernickel or rye?
Sourdough. Yeah, but it's
sourdough. That's what it is. It's sourdough.
Right? Got that little bug growing in my refrigerator. I'm gonna have sourdough pizza tomorrow. But yeah, that's where the
So there you go.
but yeah, I mean, I think it's it's there to be found. When it's to be found is not dictated by us. It's dictated by the greater powers, the AETs, the
Maybe. Well, here's the thing. Maybe I.
maybe what? Uh-oh. Either I'm frozen or you're frozen.
Yeah. No,
Oh,
no,
there you
I'm
are.
still
You're
here.
back.
I was just doing this.
Yeah, so
I'm back.
she'll
I
be
was
back.
just making
Hello,
faces.
everybody. I'm Buffy.
Here's the thing: is maybe I use the word breadcrumbs when I shouldn't have.
No, breadcrumbs are fine.
Maybe
Nope,
I
nope, nope.
want to use the word clue.
Breadcrumbs are fine.
Clues.
That's exactly what we're talking about. We're talking about breadcrumbs because when you and I'll preface it this way: you can use breadcrumbs because when we found the pyramids, then we found the tombs. Now all of a sudden we're finding the tombs. We're finding out how they build them. Maybe now we're finding out how they're building them. Now we're finding the basements. So the breadcrumbs is the right, in my opinion. I don't think you're wrong. I think it's the right terminology um, for us to know and use when we're talking about it. Stupid computer.
I just responded to Tim. Tim says, once the key is found and we unlock the lock, the question is mankind ready for the truth when it comes to our star people?
Yeah.
They're going to show up whether you like it or not. The
Well,
time for asking that question is over. I have the utmost authority on that. Yeah, whether you're ready or not.
yeah, no, you're right.
That's just my theory.
Well, we've already talked about it. There's going to be more visitations now in 2025
Or
because it's
untheory.
over. I think the world has been educated enough, has known to look. They're looking to the sky now. They're asking more questions
Yes.
instead of being scared.
I predicted the 19th. You've got 5 days to get your issue ready.
You chopped up.
Yeah.
What'd you say? Uh-oh. You said the 19th is what, Buff?
I ready or not, here they come. And I don't think 419.
Oh yeah, and they're going to visit who's ready. They're going to visit those that are accepting.
Was
those
my last prediction. I made 8 predictions. 7 of the 419. Be prepared. Because they're showing up. Time for them to wait and for you to be ready. For us as mankind to be ready is done and over with. They've waited long enough. There are always going to be people that are going to be afraid. Ready for thousands of years, so it's not going to. I think that the people who say, "Oh, the Earth is going to be too afraid, we're not ready yet," those are toe dippers. They wash society by saying that they're not ready. They are ready. I think we are more ready than we have ever been, and I think there are more of us that are ready and have been ready than the populace thinks.
Oh yeah,
at this point.
Sorry,
and we went off.
Right, but it's kind of it's good because it's all the same. It's a totality of all this because there's meaning coming up in everything.
Mm-hmm.
The understanding of the basement, the understanding of the building of the pyramids, the halls of Ameni, Petra.
Mm-hmm.
All this stuff is starting to come to the forefront. And when you look at it, we've always talked about, everybody's like, well, how many years did we talk about before everybody's not ready? Well, no, there's a lot more people now ready that are afraid to admit that they're ready. There's people that are now speaking out saying, where are you? I'm waiting for a visit, dude. Because there's many things that I've read that we should not fear contact. You don't fear the contact.
That is correct.
The fear becomes because you're unknown.
That is correct.
That there's more people now that are understanding and educated, and they're the ones that are going to get visited. They're the ones that are going to turn to their neighbor and say, "Hey, Fred, what's up, dude?" Yep, it happened, or whatever. You know what I mean? I mean, I'm kind of theatrical on it, but it's the visits are coming. We're going to get visited. Those who want to get visited are going to get visited, but nothing's going to happen because I've always said this big blue marble is being protected by them. It's being protected all the way down to the Egyptians, and it goes back and forth on the protection.
Yes.
So I think it's. And I believe that one book that I told you guys to read, The Visitor at the Penthouse, Pentagon.
Yes.
Thor, who came there at any given time.
Oh, Lord.
Right? I told you I was waiting for your reaction.
We definitely went that rabbit hole with that one, bro. I'll swear. A Freudian slip, man.
Right?
Freudian slip. It
but
happened.
At any given time, there
Lucy, control your husband.
I know. But at any given time, there are 7 major controlling ETs on Earth, spread out. And you know how I know they're there? Because we're not an incinerated bulb of gas. Think about it. How many times should our planet have been gassed?
Exactly.
Right.
4 times. They've saved us 4 times. 4 times.
And they're
by the ones
here
that have been
now.
visited by 4 times that they've said 4 times. 4 times, and they keep repeating that there is nothing to fear. They've even quoted our president as saying that there is nothing to fear but fear itself. They have been here for thousands of years, almost millennia.
They've been here longer than that.
And they have only been here to help us.
Yeah, they've been here longer. They've been fighting amongst themselves longer than we've been here. They're the Anani, the other one I talked about, Pinani.
The Anunnaki.
Right. They've been fighting the Draconians and everything else.
The Ponti, like I'm on a pontoon boat, Ponti. Panini
fire up
press,
the grill.
The panini.
It's a pontoon boat. Fire up the gas grill.
Radar, if you are listening. If you are listening, Radar, if you're listening, he did not mean to call you a panini. That's a sandwich in Italian. Un sanguiche in Italian.
Oh, God.
Wow.
But yeah, no, I mean,
wow.
All that,
all I can say is wow.
The discovery of that basement is like, it's so amazing, but it needs a lot more explanation because for me, it just came up from nowhere.
What's major?
What?
It's major.
It's Minger.
It's major. That whole finding was major.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It came from nowhere.
I'm sitting here looking at. Yeah, I'm looking at the comments and how Tim's spelling Sphinx. Spank. He called it Spank. The Spank.
Space.
Like Michael.
The Final Frontier. I wish I could see the chats. I can't see the damn chats.
Spank the Final Frontier. That's what we're calling it. Spank the Final Frontier. Spank.
What's the matter? You making fun of my spelling again?
Oh, look.
You see what I got to put up with?
Yes, I'm making fun of your spelling.
See what I have to put up with?
Listen. You know what she's going to do? She's going to come to me tomorrow at work and be like, you guys, I swear.
Right?
We love the
Oh,
way
so
you
you
spell.
know her then. You
We're just
work
going to
with
call it
her.
Sphinx
Well,
Final
okay,
Frontier.
then it's not a surprise.
Yes, I do.
That was
I do.
that was not actually
It is
meant to be space. That was actually I couldn't figure out how in the heck to spell Sphinx, so I spelled it the way the Appalachians spell it, the way I pronounce it. But we all know that the Sphinx has been around longer than the
You
pyramids,
can
right?
label that right up there with paint.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. So,
Yes,
and
sir.
also with the pyramids,
Yes, sir.
have to
Is that Don in the
remember-
background I hear? Oh,
probably. It's not my group. It's not my band. So it's got to be Donna back there. Could be Farrah. I don't know.
It's Donna.
Yeah, probably.
Who
But
knows?
anyway, we gotta remember that, like I said, there's pyramids all over the world, right?
Oh yeah.
So even some that haven't even been located yet.
Mhm.
But we also have to remember when these pyramids were built, they were actually built along the same time as the pyramids in Egypt were being built as they were in South America. So there's no way between these two continents that we could have shared the same design, the same style,
Right.
the same measurement, everything from one continent to the other.
Mhm.
So they had to be some outside forces. So we need to keep that in mind. And yes, even if you're not religious, I know with my people, we've always said that, the star people, we came from the stars, right? We come from the heavens.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
even the
Yeah.
Bible tells us that, we rose from the dust, we came from the heavens, and and the earth was without form, and it was formed, right? So we have to also remember there was life on this earth before there was mankind.
Oh yeah.
Correct?
Mhm.
Okay. So it's pretty cool how everything is starting to come about. I don't mean to take your time. I know this is your show,
No,
but I just had to throw some things in there.
You have permission to come up in here any old time you want.
Well, that's good. Thank you, Buffy, Jimmy. Appreciate
Absolutely. Don't hesitate.
that. So, but anyway, we don't have much longer. So, but continue on. Thank you.
I know. You're welcome, sir. Thank you. Thank you. Anytime you want to be in there,
Jump right on
you
in.
don't have to ask permission to pop up. Just come on in. But I want more stories like this. I want more facts. I want more scientific studies like this. Do you know that I would be in the 7th level of nirvana if I was allowed to go to the Sphinx and just sit in that library that's supposedly down under there?
Mhm.
I'd probably die of some rare disease from breathing in all that whatever's they got on them. But I'll tell you what, I'd be rolling around on those papyruses, reading everything I could.
People like you, me, Tim, Lucy, we're all like, if we could just sit in the shadow of the Sphinx, or sit in the shadow of the Great Pyramids, or sit close. We would I think the healing vibrations and the overall vibrations that you would feel in the body would be so strong and vibrant and self-healing that we can't imagine it. And there's not the right souls there yet to absorb that power that comes out of all that. Because you can't tell me that pyramids, the basement, those waterways in the basement and everything, and the Sphinx itself doesn't hold tremendous amount of power that nobody knows how to harness. There's only one group that knows how to harness that. There's only one group that knows how to harness that power, and they're doing it. And you can think about whatever you want. I won't even give you what I'm thinking, but Buff, you and I are on the same page. Tim's on the same page.
We're all on the same page.
Yeah. So there's the power is being harnessed properly by the proper ones. So it's just like, it's like you said, this, things like this are like, wow. That's why you got it. That's why you look around, you see what's going on. You see what's going on in the world. And when we came across this topic, you and I talked, and we're like, "Hey, Buff, did you see what's underground?" You're like, "What?" And it was like, "Yep, we're all over it." But
yes.
it's just an amazing amount of, and I think we get drawn to it because we're so open. So when things happen there, I think that we're probably like, I don't want to mean to sound like we're like the number one, but we're in the front runners that get, hey, did you guys see what's going on over here, or what's going on over there, or this or that, or are you aware of that? And then that's where we bring this forum to a table, put it out there, and let people digest what we're throwing at them. Do you want to know more about the basements? Do you want to know more about the halls of Amente? Do you want to know more about Petra? Do you want to know more about, it's just, there's just a ton of crap there with a ton of energy waiting to be absorbed by the right people, that go pass it on to everybody. In my opinion, everybody's the right people. It's just on how they want to absorb the power and the understanding.
Right. I find all of that absolutely fascinating. And I actually, before it, I'm booking on myself a trip to go to Egypt.
There you go.
I want to go to Egypt, and I want to sit and stare at the pyramids of Giza. I just find that awe-inspiring and just utterly amazing to being being sat in a spot where pharaohs have walked.
Mm-hmm.
Great thinkers have sat and watched and just feel the sand and just get this amazing energy that comes from all of that.
Right. I mean,
it's an amazing thing, and to be able to do that,
I mean,
is something special.
Yeah, you look at King Tut. Could you imagine walking in the same footsteps, same sand as King Tut? You're sitting there, and then
I mean, that is
the basements, we're part of the basements there, or whatever. That the basements had to be there by the time King Tut came around. It had to be. So could you imagine being in a realm area where you're like,
there is no other answer to that.
Right. I mean, the greatest connection, in my opinion, between the Gaza, the pyramids, the basement, all of that, the greatest connection is the boy wonder himself, King Tut.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the ultimate plug for both sides.
All of that.
The ultimate plug. And it's proven time and time again. He's the ultimate plug.
It truly is. Do you have a goblet of knowledge, sir? We've been going on. This is like
I
an hour
know.
43 minutes.
I don't. I'm revamping it a little bit. So I'm going to have a surprise for you for the next time around for the goblet. But I did not put the goblet together tonight. I'm sorry.
You got a surprise for me coming? That's okay.
Forgiveness,
I know you like surprises.
I'm going to change up a little bit on the goblet. I got an idea I'm going to play with. So next time there will be a goblet.
You run with it. You do whatever the heck you want with it.
There will be a goblet next time, but it's a little. We're going to amp it up a little bit.
Okay, you do whatever you want with that. That's yours, honey. You run with that goblet. Do you want to give everybody out your email address and if you want, is there something else you want to add on to tonight?
Yeah, so I am Spirit Searcher 649, Spirit Searcher 649 at Verizon or at gmail.com. Hit me up with a topic.
Can you hear me now?
Lucy's got a topic for us for next week. She hit me up with one.
Does
found something for us. So I look to share that with you, and maybe we'll talk about that. But if you have a topic, anything, a topic on anything, if you want to talk about tonight, if we have created an opinion that you want to get out there, or a thought that you want to get out there, and you say, you know what, I got to get on the show and I got to talk to those two because here's what I'm thinking about this, and I want to let them know this, hit one of us up. Hit me up at spiritsearcher649@gmail.com. If I've spoken out of turn with the basements, with the pyramids, with my thoughts on terrestrials, anything like that, correct me. I am not a guy that's not going to, oh, no, I'm right, you're wrong. No, I don't believe in any of that crap. So, but I am ready for topics and everything. And we're early in 2020. Well, yeah, we're early in 2025. So I'm going to rock this 2025 year with our topics. So far, they're starting to really point themselves out, so we're going to go here. So I'm going to turn it over to you, sis. What do you got for us?
Same thing goes for me as for Jimmy. If you got a topic, if you want us to talk about something specific, if you want to be a special guest on the show, if you want, if we've said something wrong or out of turn, please let us know. My email is ghostwhisperer318@gmail.com. That's ghostwhisperer318@gmail.com. Again, I have, we are in the works. Hopefully it will happen July 19th. I'm planning an event to be held at the Tree of Life shop. This will be a charity event. So as more information is coming, I will let you know. I really don't, I don't have a lot of information. I have to get with Mrs. Tree to figure stuff out on how we're going to go about doing this, but it is going to be, I want it to be a fundraiser for Save the Stray Schuylkill, which is where I got my little at, my Miss Maven. It was, you can't see her, but she's down here on the floor. She is one of the strays that was found by Save the Stray Schuylkill and put up for adoption, and I just had to have her. She's my little baby now.
Good job.
So please keep looking for more information on that. I will be back at the Tree of Life shop on April 27th doing, and that's pretty much all I have to say.
Awesome.
I mean, you got anything else, bro?
No, great conversation tonight. I liked it. I hope we got everybody's.
Anything else?
Oh, look at the kitty. Kitty.
Say hi, May May. May. He said no. Kira said kitty. All right. So, anything else, bro?
I'm good, sis. Good seeing you. Have a great week. Everybody have a great week. Everybody, whatever you do it, happy Easter. Keep those people in your prayers who need it. God bless everyone. Yeah. Happy Easter.
Aw, thank you ever so much, bro. We will not be on the air with Witches Winging It next Monday. Tim has to be away. Who is our producer? He is away for that day, and I will keep everyone posted as to when our next Witches Winging It will be out. We have decided that we are going to stick to Mondays. It's every other Monday. We'll flip back and forth between Corner Cauldron and Witches Winging It.
Cool.
Right now, we are a little bit up in the air about Witches Winging It and when it's going to air. Next, we're going to hear from Jen and from Tim, and then we'll decide when the next Monday for Witches Winging It will be. Okay? All righty. And without further further ado, you know what we always say, bro. Love, peace, and chicken grease, y'all. Bye. Bye.